is a 27-year-old Caucasian woman and stay-at-home parent who is seeking counseling for her anxiety and depression that she believes is a result of relationship problems with her parents. She states that she has always had anxiety and depressive episodes as long as she can remember, and that she has always attributed them to the volatile household in which she grew up. Growing up, Megan often witnessed fights between her parents, both physical and verbal. She further explains that she was often the subject of their arguments, and that on many occasions the arguments would escalate to the point that her father would then turn on her, at which point she would be yelled at and threatened with violence by her father. Megan began drinking heavily at the age of 16, partying with friends on the weekends and sneaking what she could into the house. This pattern of behavior continued throughout high school, then slacked off while in college due to demands of coursework, lack of funds, and a burgeoning relationship with her now husband, Lance. Megan reports that since the birth of her son, Oliver, she has found it increasingly difficult to tolerate her parents' lack of confidence in her parenting abilities and their disregard of any boundaries that she and her husband have set for their son. After the arrival of her second son, she began drinking again. Only a little, to deal with everything. She says that since she has started drinking again, she has been so consumed with drowning out the anxiety and sadness that her husband expressed that if you don't get help for this, you're going to give me no choice but to leave you and take the kids. Up until this point, Rebecca has remained silent, allowing Megan to speak freely about why she has come to this agency. She felt that this was a good time to interject as Megan began to trail off when she mentioned her husband's ultimatum.
You seem really concerned about your husband's remarks. Can you tell me a little more about it?
He's the one who brought me in today. He's really upset about my drinking. He thinks that I'm becoming an alcoholic.
I'm sure that hurt to hear.
I suppose he had a good reason to say what he did. I haven't exactly been the best wife and mother lately.
Can you tell me more about what you mean when you say that you haven't been the best wife and mother?
Yeah, well, the other day, he came home from work and I accidentally left dinner on the stove. I had put Abram down for a nap and went outside to play with my older son. Um, when he got home, the fire alarm had been going off apparently, and Abram was screaming in his crib. This never happened before. I just got carried away and forgot about dinner. I mean, it's like me and my son were just having a lot of fun.
So you say that you forgot about dinner. Had you had anything to drink at that point?
I'd had a couple of beers, that's all.
Can you remember how many beers you had?
I would say I probably had about 7 or 8 by that time. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not very big person, so it doesn't really take much.
I see. So you had 7 or 8 beers at that point? About what time of day was that? Can you recall?
Yeah, Lance was on his way home at that point, so about 5 o'clock or so, I guess.
So that was pretty late in the day. Could you tell me a little more about your day prior to your husband's arrival? Maybe beginning with when you woke up.
Sure. So I woke up around 10 a.m. or 11 o'clock. I really don't know. I can't remember. But I made some breakfast, eggs, bacon, grits, since eggs are Ollie's favorite. I got him settled at the kitchen table and then grabbed a bag of breast milk out of the freezer for Abram and heated it up. About that time, I heard my phone buzz, and it was my mom. I don't know what she was thinking, but she was telling me that she and Dad had decided they were going to take Oliver to Florida. I was furious, and I couldn't even answer her, so I just immediately started thinking about all the years that they went to Florida and I wasn't invited because they didn't need, they needed someone at home to watch their dogs. Oh, but they'd take my brother and, with them and his friends or whoever he wanted to go with them, girlfriends, which I was never allowed to do. Um, a part of me was glad that I wasn't invited though, um, so I wouldn't have to deal with their bullshit. But a bigger part of me was hurt. You know, that they could be just so callous and, you know, like whatever. I didn't matter.
I imagine that anyone would feel terrible after having an experience like that. So, your mom sent you a text saying that he wanted to take Oliver to Florida with her and your dad. Was that all she stated in her message?
She never asked me anything. They never asked me anything. To answer your question, no. That was all that was in the text. So, anyway, I started thinking about all the times that they screwed me over and I just kept, taking it and never saying anything. And I always do this. I can't let anything go. I have to dwell on everything until I have become completely useless.
What do you mean when you say completely useless?
I mean, I get down. I feel like my parents don't give a shit about me. They have made comments in the past, of course they say they were joking, but um, they said, no one really gives a shit about me. All anyone cares about is Oliver and Abram, and yeah, and that happens after you have children. Like, I get what they mean, but it still hurts to hear that.
That is hurtful. What happened after your mother texted you? You said you'd gotten Oliver up for breakfast and was in the process of fixing Abram his bottle.
I immediately stormed to the fridge and grabbed a beer. I haven't been doing, I've been doing that a lot lately.
Drinking?
I get overwhelmed. I just go to the fridge.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me calm down, especially after I've had a couple.
Do you think that you were drinking too much?
I drink more than I should, if that's what you mean, but I don't know what else to do. I wanted to come here because I know I can't continue this cycle anymore. It's like I don't want to lose my family, and they're the most important thing in my life, and I just don't know how to deal with these feelings anymore. Drinking is the only thing that seems to give me any relief. I mean,
I understand. Do you crave it at all?
I think about it a lot, yeah.
So you think a lot about it. But do you have a physical craving?
No, not really. I'm not having withdrawals, if that's what you mean. I'm not an alcoholic.
Have you noticed an increase in the amount of alcohol you need to achieve that desired effect?
I never intend to drink so much. It just kind of happens. I start feeling pretty good and I think, "Oh, I want to keep, going as long as possible." Then I inevitably get too drunk.
Uh-huh, I see. Would you mind if we go back to discussing your day?
No, that's fine. Um,
So you were saying that you stormed to the fridge to grab a beer after you received the text from your mother, right?
oh yeah. So I stormed to the fridge and I got a beer. I started chugging it. At that point, I really didn't care. I just wanted everything to disappear. I mean, it's amazing how they can get under my skin like that. I mean, sometimes I wonder if they do this shit on purpose.
So after you downed your beer, what did you do next?
I finished fixing Abram his bottle and I fed it to him. Then I cleaned them up and laid Abram in the floor to play with some toys.
What was Oliver doing at this time?
He was also in the floor playing with some toys. They're such good babies. I never really have to worry about either of them. It's like Oliver is such a big help with his little brother.
I can tell you really love your boys.
I have to fix this. I don't want to hurt them. I love my family. I love my husband. I don't want to end up like my father. I don't want my children to ever feel like they weren't enough or that somehow everything was their fault. I'm sorry, I always get emotional when it comes to them.
That's okay. Consider this your safe place. I want you to feel like you can express yourself here without feeling like you're being judged. So while the kids were playing in the floor, what'd you do?
I got another drink and I sat down on the couch and turned on the TV. I'm always exhausted anymore. It's like I don't sleep at night. Not really, anyway. Maybe a couple hours at a time.
What do you think is causing your insomnia?
I'm just stressed out all the time. I am always on edge. I feel irritable all the time. I worry incessantly about everything. That's why I drink in the first place. That's another reason why I drink. Anyway,
Does drinking help you sleep?
well, when you're drinking one beer after another, if I don't, then I can't function at all during the day. I'm a zombie.
I see. Did you go anywhere or do anything in the few hours prior to making dinner that evening?
No, I mostly just keep drinking my beer and watching TV. Of course, unless the kids need something, then I would tend to them. But I did go and check the mail, come to think of it. That was about it. I don't do much typically, though, on account of that I always feel exhausted.
What were you thinking about while you were sitting on that couch watching TV?
My parents,
What about your parents?
how infuriating they are, and how I wish they would just leave me the hell alone. I fantasize a lot about just packing up everything and just getting out of here. I mean, selling the house, moving across the country. I know we can't like realistically do that, but God, I wish we could. It's like Lance isn't a big fan of my parents either. You know, he hates the way they treat me. He would rather there be some distance between us too, but
Have either of you ever confronted them about any of this?
it wouldn't do any good. They wouldn't listen to me. They never have. Plus, I'm a bit of a coward and very non-confrontational.
I haven't seen anything during our time together that would give me that impression.
Well, thanks. Um, I know you're just being nice. I'm sure I've made a great impression on you thus far. Um, the lady that almost burned her house down because she can't face reality and control her drinking.
No, not at all. You are here. That takes courage.
Well, thanks. Well, I suppose you want to hear more about my day.
Sure, please.
So, like I said, I spent most of my time just drinking and sitting on the couch, half-assed watching the TV and the kids, and then I get another text. And it was mom again saying hello. Yeah, kind of smart alecky. Um, because I refused to answer her. Um, and that just annoyed me even more.
What'd you do then?
I got even more pissed off. I was really trying to hide it in front of the kids. I mean, I don't want them to see me angry, so I went and got another drink and started cooking to try and get it off my mind.
Cooking dinner?
Yeah.
What time was it when you started cooking?
I don't remember specifically. I guess it was around 4 or so. I mean, just judging by when my husband got home and, whatever.
I see. A lot of time had passed since you started watching TV. Did you do anything between that time?
I was just sitting there drinking and watching TV. I'd get up occasionally to pee, but mostly I was just trying to zone out.
Okay, so you started cooking dinner around 4. What happened next?
I took Abram and put him in his crib for a nap. He takes several throughout the day, usually. I realize now that he hadn't had one until then. That's such a horrible mother.
Earlier, you said that you drank around 7 or 8 beers at this time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Then you went outside to play with Oliver.
Yes. Um, he loves it when we go outside to play together. It's like I said before, I love my boys so much, and I would never want them to feel like they were an inconvenience. I can just I can see it in Oliver's face, and it breaks my heart. He knows something is wrong, but then I drink. Then I'm fun mommy again. That feels good.
And how were you feeling at that point?
I was feeling great at that point. I wasn't thinking about anything but having a good time with my kid.
What did you all do outside?
We just ran around playing hide and seek, his favorite game.
That sounds like a great time. I'm sure he enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah. He loved it.
Could you tell me about what happened when your husband got home from work?
He burst through the back door with Abram. He was furious, yelling at me about the smoke and how I almost burned the house down. I've never seen him so angry. Um, it scared Oliver so bad that he ran and hid. I mean, it was pretty dramatic for all of us.
I could definitely see why that would be a scary situation for you guys. Did you or your husband call the fire department?
Uh, no, we didn't have to because Lance had gotten it under control by that point. We were lucky. I was lucky. If he hadn't been there, I don't, who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're all okay. And how is Abram?
He's okay. His pediatrician said that his lungs were fine. I mean, we did have him checked out.
Good, good. So after you brought Abram outside, what happened next?
We waited for the house to air out and then went inside, and that took a while. I know that I know it did because by the time we got inside, it was dark.
What time did you think it was by then?
It was around like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I guess.
Did you and Lance talk anymore after the initial confrontation?
Not much. I think he was so mad he was afraid to say anything to me, if you know what I mean. The only thing he really did say to me after everything had calmed down was that I had to get help. Otherwise, he was going to take the kids and leave.
I meant to ask you this earlier, but when did this all take place? Like, how many days ago?
This happened last Tuesday, so six days ago.
Okay, well, it seems to me that you're already ready to move forward and make some significant changes for you and your family. I have just a couple more questions for you, if that's okay. I know, this has been a long session.
Oh no, it's fine. I understand. It's kind of part of the process, isn't it?
So, would you say this was a typical day for you or no?
Unfortunately, this is not the first time I've been forgetful because of booze.
Well, would you be interested in continuing our sessions, like maybe once a week?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would like that very much. I'm here now. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Okay, great. It is so nice to meet you, Megan. Please don't hesitate to call me if you need anything. If you go to the front desk, Sandy will help you with setting up your next appointment.
Thank you so much for listening to me. I mean, I have to say, I feel much better knowing that I have someone to talk to. If I seemed irritable at all, I'm really sorry. It's just I have a difficult time talking about these things. I mean, I'm ashamed of myself, and
Like I said before, this is a safe place. I am here to help you. I am not here to judge you. We will go at your pace, whatever makes you the most comfortable.
thank you. That really means a lot to hear that.
You're welcome. See you next week.
I'll be here.